People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in. And yeah, man, I hope you're all safe, whoever you are, wherever you are on this fine earth. It's a bright sunny day in London. My room is boiling. Cannot put on the fan for obvious reasons. It's going to make a noise. But we persist. Now, moving forward, Matteo Guendouzi. Now, he's a player I've got a lot of time for. He's a player I won't shy away from praising and critiquing fairly. I do think that's a rarity with football fans nowadays, depending on whatever club you support. It's a lot of football is agenda ridden and things like that. But Matteo Guendouzi, rightly and wrongly, you know, is always spoken about. He was spoken about in relation to our defeat with some of the stuff on the field. Then it became a case: is the FA going to ban him? Aren't they? He got NFA no further action, which is the long for the acronym. If you know, you know. So yeah, now it's about what was actually said, and he's getting into a lot of trouble. And you know, in relation to what he said, and it does come across as arrogant, it does come across as distasteful, it does. But away from that, away from my personal feelings, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think what he said to the Brighton players is wrong. I think it's the only reason I think it's obviously morally it's not nice. You shouldn't pardon my language, shit on people for their money. But we all know football. If you want pleasantries, play another sport. You know, football is a mad game. You don't think half of these footballers in the Premier League? The best thing is you can actually hear what they're saying now to a degree, which they've probably been briefed on. But you don't think the footballers have dribs and jibes at each other. You don't think when Arsenal play teams, or even against Brighton, they're not saying, "Oh, you lot are soft, you lot are rubbish, you lot are the worst Arsenal team. We're gonna beat you," and all of this, and actually following through. That's where Guendouzi's actually gone wrong, because he said allegedly spoken about wages, quality of the player, and things, and they've turned around and beat him. So he's got humble pie on his face. But you don't think they call Arsenal soft? You don't think they call them overpaid? Like you don't think this happens in football? The only thing that's not up for it is racism. And those of you that have played football, you know it's a game. You know if you're a striker, rightly or wrongly, you're getting them knees in your back and elbows, and you're getting a lot of verbal. You're in my pocket, mate. I used to do all that verbal against a fullback, people. I mean, when I used to play fullback against a winger, the winger used to talk a lot of stuff to me. I've given you lot the story before. Obviously, when I'm a short guy, but when you're going through puberty, it's exaggerated more. We're playing in a semi-final, a guy tried a thing, we're getting into handbags, and he does that crap where I can't see you, mate. I can't see you. I said, alright, cool. Clamped him. He's on the floor in agony. I'm over him on some Roy Keating. I bet you can see me now, you prick. Pardon my language. That one there's for all the short man out there that play football. Shout out to Jack Wilshere as well, because he's the flag bearer for that. But yeah, you don't think there's a... Listen, you're playing the wrong sport or following the wrong sport if you don't think there's a lot of verbal. You know, ask the Premier League players to give a survey right now, and if they've been mocked for, if they've been over or whatever paid, or Guendouzi's been mocked on his hair by opponents and stuff, and the things will come back. Again, away from what I believe football is and my thing, in that those that actually play football know what God know that while I'm not excusing what he said, but that's a common thing, and it's not really that thing. He's not being racist, you know, he's not mocking dead people, he's not doing these sort of things. He's rattling the opponent, and he's done that quite a lot of times, rightly or wrongly. I like that about Guendouzi. He needs to calm it down a bit, because there's been a few incidences, and I don't know if he's got an attitude problem or not. He does scream a bit passionate, and he's 21, so you know, remember what you were at 21. There clearly is something. He's able to shield it. You know, Deschamps is spoken of someone that loves discipline. Guendouzi has shown that. Go and look throughout his career. He's shown he can be disciplined. It's just he needs to be careful of being portrayed in a certain sort of way now. Obviously, at one moment, he's not in the team and he's accused of not applying himself. He's gone to Dubai and got himself in the lineup under ARTETA. So it's there. Again, like I said in a previous vid, he just needs to find balance. There's time and a place. And for me, the overriding factor is, you look like an idiot, because the Brighton, man, they're paid less than you, they're worse than you, which, you know, this is verbal. They've went out and beat you lot, so you look like an idiot from them. Why do you think that's what it is? Mupe's come out and said they lack humility, which I don't agree with, but it is what it is, people. For what it's worth, he's allegedly said, Sammy Mokbel, and everybody's more or less coming out with him saying, I earn more than you ever will. He was saying stuff along them lines, and there's no need to speak about the rest, but he was taught in the financial disparity between himself and Brighton, also his teammates, obviously the club they play for allegedly, and also the ability of the players, and that's what's going to happen. You don't think when Arsenal play against someone bigger than us, that's not going to get said to us. This is what happens. It's even like Iwobi. Like Iwobi's irrelevant, but these are little things. It's like when that guy who was he playing in Europa League? Someone was moaning at Iwobi and he went, "Your breath stinks." These little rattlers. Maybe it's because that's what what I'm on in a football game, innit? Like, I'm the sort of guy within reason. It's 0-0, boys. They're shit, but it's 0-0, boys. Keep it going. I love the handbags, people. Maybe that's me in it. But again, Guendouzi has to be careful of the portrayal he's being given. But I like that about him. He just needs to find balance, and it is what it is in that regards. Away from that, though, and Ornstein's been speaking on his podcast, and he has said in relation to Martinelli, there's nothing happening there. You know, some people are speculating as to even if Martinelli had coronavirus because he hasn't been involved, which is silly and distasteful to see them things circulating. Certain people said maybe is he injured, is it a thing or whatever. For whatever reason, he's not in the team, but apparently it's not a problem, and he's someone that can be featured in the next few weeks. He spoke in relation to Arteta, and he said people close to the club say it's not a case of whether Arteta would let Arsenal down, but whether the club would let him down, and that's it, man. I mean, whether Arteta's a successful or not, he's signed for the club, so he's got to live or die by some sort of expectations. But at the same time, you know, what more can he do? He's a head coach. We keep saying manager. He's a head coach. Recruitment, getting things done, renewing man's contract, so it's not asked by press officers to Arteta every week. It's down to the club. And I'm personally looking at Raul Sanllehi since he's come into this club with the most keen eye. Like, this summer, I need to see something. I'm not saying you need to do a Galactico thing. Lord knows we can't do that. But I need to see something changing in that regards, people. A blind man could see that it's a case of the club letting down whatever manager, really. Because even Emery had a lot of failures. I didn't believe in Emery, but there's been numerous times he's asked for certain things or had concerns about certain things, and he's not been backed, or the club hasn't gone and done things really and truly. And it is what it is in that regards, people. Ornstein's also said apparently Arsenal are looking to strengthen in central defence, which we should, central midfield, a box-to-box or holding midfielder, which we should, and a wide player is of Arteta's liking. In brackets, it says Willian could be an option. Some at the club are already fed up with Guendouzi and want him sold. And you could see that, man, because internally, you know, you do hear some murmurings that he could be a bit of a handful, and the others you hear is very humble. So again, I'm mindful of these things because I'm not there day in, day out. All I'd say is there's clearly something in you, Guendouzi. Apply it in a positive sense and try and become the player you want to be, because there is some qualities. First things first, whether you like him or not, you're not speaking about him as a 21-year-old. He's very few players that have come from his beginnings in Arsenal in recent years have become sort of I won't say important player because he's probably not in our strongest lineup, but you get it. He come as this this youngster kind of not known about. He's in the team, sort of, you know. He played a lot of times, and I like that he actually likes to take responsibility. There are a few shortcomings that he does and things that annoy me, of course, like everyone, but I'm prepared to give him an opportunity. He just needs to be prepared of the perception, because if that is true, internally some people are thinking of it, you've got to think about how things can change, really. And, you know, to be fair, I know Guendouzi's not off the level of these world-class players, but you do hear, what do you think Henry was easy to handle? You hear Henry was very opinionated. I'm not for a minute suggesting that he's ever going to be like Henry in terms of stature and all of these things, but do you think, you've all watched the LeBron, I ain't even watched it yet, but I've started it, but the LeBron documentary, do you think any of these top sportsmen in general, you know, there's humility and they all show humility, sorry, but in their actual domain, are they the easiest characters to get on with? No. So that's not necessarily a bad thing for me, but personally he needs to be careful, because you never know what opinion might fall into someone with the influence power to influence things, sorry, people, because I'm not saying this is the case, but let's just say these same things you're hearing internally, let's just say they're one of Edu's brethren within the club and they get into Edu's head. I'm not saying this is the thing, but they say, you know what, sell Guendouzi, he's this, he's that, he's the other. Obviously, someone like Raul Sanllehi or Edu, they're in a position of influence where they can make that happen, do you get it? So he needs to be careful in that regard. Beyond that, it's not a thing for me personally, people. You know, he's just made Arsenal look stupid. Brighton, Arsenal collectively just make us look stupid. And if I was Brighton, I'd lap it up. I'd say Arsenal lack humility. I'd say, you know, you look stupid. You get paid more. You're doing this, you're doing that. But, like, where are you? Who took the 3 points? So that's probably the stupidest thing out of all of this, people. Moving away from that, and it's almost same old, so I'm not going to bother you with anything, people. I'm keen to see what we do in relation to a goalie. You've seen us linked with Joe Hart. Probably sure we'll be linked with Fraser. Probably a move for Fabianski again. PSG/loanee of Real Madrid at the moment, Areola. And we'll have to make a decision in relation to the goalie, because do you go for a young keeper with a bit of potential, you know, and then you might be able to loan him out. He might be decent now, but you can loan him out, use Leno for a couple of years, or do you sign someone levels or better than Leno, which again presents an issue when he comes back. I don't know what's going to happen. I would like us to sign someone of Leno's stature or someone like that. When that problem comes with him or Leno, It's sad to say, but we'll have to revisit that, in an ideal world, but a bad world for Leno is that we sign someone levels, we keep going, and Leno might even be frozen out. Obviously, you want to see him come back and fight for his chance in the team and all of these sort of things, people. But you're probably not going to sign someone better than Leno or levels or better than Leno. So we probably have to look for an experienced short-term pair of hands. We're probably going to get linked with McCarthy, probably people like Butland, like I said, Joe Hart. Pretty sure we were linked with Tim Krul before he even got a chance at Newcastle. So with Norwich potentially going down, that's something that might be thrown in. I'm not saying I want these players necessarily. I'm not saying I don't want them. I'm just trying to fees it. Hopefully there's some... I'd like to imagine we're looking for a goalie, because I'm sure we was linked with that lad that's gonna go Schalke now. No, he's at Schalke now. He's and he's quite error prone. Is it Sherbert? I can't remember his name, man. Can't remember his name, but we're linked with a couple of goalies. Even when, I'm sure you'll all remember a couple months ago, it's like, why are you linked with a goalie, when we've got Leno? So, if there is any truth to them links, and we have got reports on goalies and stuff, whether they're household names in the Premier League or experienced or young with potential or playing this continent or that continent, we need to get it going, because these things happen in football. Injuries are part and parcel of the game. Yes, I don't know why Arsenal have been done so dirty. 1 minute is Xhaka, then it's Leno. And for Arteta, whether you believe in any of them players, they're two significant parts of his team, at least for this season. So we'll have to see what happens in that regards. But for now, I'm going to get out of it. As usual, it's a pleasure speaking to you guys. DG.